Welcome back, everybody. Our final guest is Director of Staff at the United Federation of Teachers, who is here today to speak about the latest updates from partnered schools, community events hosted by his organization, and much more. So please welcome to the show, the man, Anthony Harmon. Welcome, Anthony.
Thanks so much, Bob, and I appreciate the opportunity to come on again.
Anthony, the last time we spoke, when you're always welcome to come in. The last time we spoke about the closings of some of the schools in New York City.
And Bob, some of the things that we were concerned about is the number of not only school closures, but the number of classroom closures. And that was happening because there are COVID infections or COVID spreads inside of classrooms, and it's always to err on the side of caution. If there's an outbreak or students test positive in the classroom, we try to do any and everything that we can to make sure that everybody's safe, not only the teachers but the kids who are in the classroom are kept safe.
Yeah,
one of the reasons why I'm so glad to have this opportunity to come on, Bob, and to talk to you about and to make the community aware of an issue that we're experiencing here at the United Federation of Teachers. It's a bill, a city council bill that we have before the council right now. It's bill number 2374, and that's a bill that would call on the council to take a vote to relook at the number of kids in a class. We're asking that this, issue be taken up at the city council, and that we, really start to look at lowering class sizes in New York City.
And Anthony, they've been talking about this for many, many years, even way before the pandemic, that we had overcrowding in our city school classrooms. And even if you just lower it down for the individualized attention, bump it down to 15 instead of 30, 32. I mentioned sometimes classrooms had about 50 students in them.
Absolutely, Bob. And I would tell you, like, current class sizes for like a high school is 34, 36 kids in a classroom, right? In an elementary school, it could be 28 to 30 kids in a classroom.
Yeah.
And we've always advocated that, if the class sizes were lowered, just think about the amount of individualized attention that you could give to that struggling student, right? As opposed to having 38 kids or 36 kids. I remember teaching, Bob, one time I had 44 kids in a classroom. I couldn't even assign seats during that time. So seats were given on a first come, first served basis. And if you got to my class late, you leaned up against your radiator. Your notes for the class.
I've been to some of your classes, I know.
It was just that, there was just no room for kids, right? For the students rather. So we're asking now that the city take a look at the health code, because right now we're saying that, during this pandemic, and everybody's encouraging 3 feet. So first it was 6 feet, now it's 3 feet social distancing. How do we maintain that 3 feet social distancing when we're still putting 34, 36 kids in a classroom? And in some cases, it's more than that, because if there's a teacher and there may be a paraprofessional or 2 in the classrooms that, that's helping kids that may have some other disability. So now you're talking about 36 to 39 possibly kids, bodies in a classroom. And we need to look at that in terms of New York City. Our kids should be getting no less than the kids in Long Island or the kids in Scarsdale. They don't have those class size issues that we do in New York City. And I'm not saying this is every school and every classroom.
Yeah,
to look at data and see where these, the number of kids, these schools they're bursting at the seam. And
so the legislation is out there now.
The legislation is out there. We have organizations that have signed on board, the New York branch of the NAACP, the A. Philip Randolph Institute, the different churches and community groups, and they've all signed on and said that they will support this, a particular bill, and encouraging the council to vote, to look at the current health code for the city of New York. Bob, here's something, an interesting fact. The last time that they looked at the health code and to determine the square footage per child,
was
in 1938, during the tuberculosis pandemic.
Wow. Yeah.
1938 was the last time that they looked at the actual square footage to determine how many kids could fit in the class. And that was during the tuberculosis pandemic. Now we're saying we need to look at it again. We know that this coronavirus and how easily it spreads. And, we need to look at the health code and really have a real conversation in terms of lowering class size. Not only for the health issues, but for the individualized instructions that you mentioned, Bob, right? And I think now is the opportunity to do that.
So is there a petition going around? How do we help?
So there's a
facilitate
petition.
this?
There's a petition going around, and we're asking organizations if they want to send some information to, the city council and encouraging them to do it. They can send a letter to, Speaker Corey Johnson at City Hall. They could also join our petition. We have a petition that's out there, and we can encourage people to go to the website, which is www.uft.org/petition. Again, that's www.uft.org/petition. And they'll be able to see the petition. They'll see the language that we're encouraging, the city council to consider, and they could sign their name. And I will tell you, there's about 22,000 people, that's teachers, parents, and that have already signed on. We want to get that number up to as many as possible so that the city council and the mayor really feel the pressure that this is a real priority for our kids.
And this will not affect the teachers, right? Of lowering the classroom sizes. It will not affect their pay or anything like that.
It will not affect their pay. That's why we're saying if they look at this from a health code standpoint, right, and make these changes based on health code. I'm also told that like 70% of the schools can do this already. There's enough space in the schools that they can do this already. And then if we begin to look at the data to see exactly where these districts, where these students are bursting out at the seam, I would tell you there's a school in Queens. This school is always overcrowded.
Yeah.
There's pockets of spaces in the Bronx, right, where they had to put trailers in the school's schoolyard to accommodate the number of kids, right? They know where these, the communities are growing. And let's start making plans to A, build more schools, B, rent out some of the spaces, from the, I know a lot of Catholic schools were closing down, right? So there's schools out there that, maybe we could just renovate and just, put kids in those buildings. And I think that people could do it. It's just a matter of, do they want to do it? Is the will there? When the city looked at a couple of years back with de Blasio and expanding pre-K to 3K. Remember that? I don't know how many people
remember that. Yeah.
They found spaces everywhere in the city. There's 3K sites all over the city of New York. And why? Because there was a will to do it. The city just needs to have the will to do it. And this can be done.
So Anthony, we love the work that you guys are doing at UFT. A lot of that stuff is on your website. We share and helping to get that out there. It's on the Make the Grade website. You can go there and click that, and it'll take you to the UFT website, and all that information is right there. And it also explains about bullying, the anti-bullying programs that you guys have. You're doing a lot of great work in our community, and we appreciate you guys.
And thank you, Bob, and thank you for keeping education in the forefront. It's so important. It's so very, very important. Frederick Douglass told us that it's easy to build strong. It's easy to build strong men, right? If we just focus on the children.
Yeah. You're the second one that mentioned Frederick Douglass today.
Am I?
Yeah. A young man was on. He said, I went to that school. I said, yeah, we built the radio station at that school.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So thank you so much. What's the website one more time where everybody can go?
www.uft.org/petition.
There you go. My man, Anthony Harmon, Director of Staff of the United Federation of Teachers. We appreciate you and we love you, man.
And thank you, Bob, for all that you do.
All right. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today's show. Thank you for letting us share in this space and time with you. Always remember this: what you are is God's gift to you, and what you make of yourself is your gift to God. To choose your choice and let your choice control the chooser. For all of us here at Bronx, have a great and enjoyable day, and I'll see you over 107.5 WBLS. Catch you another day, another way. Love you all. Peace.